This lecture we will be studying about operating system services. So we know that an operating system provides an environment for the execution of programs. It provides certain services to programs and to users of those programs. So in this lecture we will see that what are the services provided by the operating system to the programs and the user of the programs. Let's start. So the first one is the user interface. Now this is one of the most important services provided by the operating system. Now what is this user interface? The user interface is something that allows the user to interact with operating system. Almost all operating systems have a user interface, and the user interface can take several forms, like the command line interface, also known as CLI, or the graphical user interface known as the GUI. Now examples of command line interface are like our command prompt that you have used in Microsoft Windows, or the terminal that we have used in our Ubuntu based system. So in this command line interpreter, we provide text-based commands using keyboard in order to perform a certain task by the operating system. And the most commonly used command line interface is graphical user interface. It is an interface where we have a Windows system with a pointing device like a mouse, or we have the menus and we can click those menus. Also we can provide inputs using our keyboard. So this is the most commonly used and the most user friendly interface that we have. So this is the first and one of the most important service provided by the operating system. Now the next service that is provided by the operating system is program execution. We know what are programs and what is software. So the operating system must provide for the execution of the programs. That means we should be able to run or execute our programs and software. The system must be able to load the program into memory, and it should be able to run that program. So this is also another important service that should be provided by the operating system. Now the next service that is provided is the input output operation services. Now a running program that we have may require input output, which may involve files or input output devices, and this is input output operation should be provided by the operating system. A user cannot directly control the input output devices. Now we may think that when we are using our keyboards and mouse, we feel like we are controlling it by ourselves directly, but there is an operating system between us and the system that actually controls the usage of the input output devices. So this input output operation is also one of the important service that is provided by the operating system. So we have input devices like keyboards, mouse, and the output devices like mouse, printer, speakers, and so on. And in between this we have our operating system between us and our programs, and the input output devices which help in the usage of these input device output devices properties. So that is what we mean by input output operations, which also is an important service that is provided. Now the next service that is provided by the operating system is the file system manipulation. So this is also an important service. File system manipulation or file system management involves files. Now there are many files and directories in our system that have to be used. Now the operating system must control how these files are manipulated or managed. Sometimes we may have to create, delete, or modify these files, or sometimes we have to search a given file. So these are all controlled by the operating system, and also it controls the permission that is given to certain programs or users for the access of certain files. So all the files that we have cannot be allowed to be used by every program or by every user. There are some access restrictions. So this restriction of access is also controlled by the operating system. The another important service that is provided by the operating system is the file system manipulation. Now the next service that is provided by the operating system is communication. Now from the name itself we may already understand what is communication. We already know what is communication, but here what we mean is communication between two processes or more processes. So we know what is a process. A problem, that is execution, is known as a process. Now there are many processes that are present here, and these processes often need to communicate with each other so that they can synchronize with each other and the execution can be done in an efficient way. So there are many circumstances in which one process needs to exchange information with another process. So such communication may occur between processes that may be executing on the same computer or between processes that are executing on different computers tied together by a computer network. So the processes that we have may be present between the same computer and they may have to communicate with each other or may be communicated by a network, and this network they are connected to different computers and there are different processes present in different computers. So the communication between these processes, between the same computers or even between the same different computers is controlled by the operating system.